Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives active duty members, veterans, mil spouses, military family members, and patriotic military supporters a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped them in their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am so excited to have with me Richard Andrew Stephen Farrar. Richard Andrew Stephen Farrar, Andrew, is a Marine Corps veteran having enlisted after college, where he earned a BA in Classical Studies in 2001. In the Marine Corps, he graduated from the School of Infantry and had 3 deployments with the 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines India Company as an infantry machine gunner. Andrew earned several military awards during service, including the Purple Heart Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal, and the National Defense Medal, to name a few. He was honorably discharged in 2008. Post-service, Andrew was a chef for 10 years at various restaurants. After his time as a chef, Andrew battled alcoholism, depression, and PTSD. In 2019, after his second DUI, Andrew shifted his focus to his well-being and to the welfare of his fellow veterans. He was the lead coordinator for the IW Nashville Hike, a chaplain for 3 years with the VFW Department of Tennessee, All-American VFW Post Commander, Chief of Staff for the Military Order of the Purple Heart in Tennessee, and currently the VFW Tennessee District 5 Commander, and most recently, the Tun Tavern Militia Commander for Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I love it. Hello, how are you,
Hi,
Andrew? Nice
Tracy.
to see you.
You too,
And thank
ma'am.
you.
It's good to be on here.
Yeah, thank you so much for your service to our country, sir. Um,
That's
so
a lot
a
of
lot
hats. I have a lot of hats. I'm really sorry that you had to read all that.
that is okay. No, I love it. You're a busy, busy man. So I feel very honored that you've taken time to come on my podcast and tell me all about what you're doing. And we're going to talk about Ton Tavern and everything. But first, I would like to ask, what inspired you to join the Marine Corps?
My family is all military, or most of the ones that I know. My dad was Navy. My uncle was a Vietnam vet, and I was like, I got a call to serve after college, and after 3 years of working at Sherwin-Williams, I was like, you know what? I need to do this before I am 30 years old. So I went over to the recruiting office in Naples, Florida, and I'm like, sign me up.
Oh,
And
wow.
the Marine Corps, they're the best.
The few, the proud,
No,
right?
no
That's what
offense,
they say.
no offense out there, guys. No offense, soldiers and sailors. I'm sorry.
um, that's awesome. So, is there a particular aspect or moment from your service that stood out as impactful in a positive way for you?
Yeah, actually, it's one I don't really talk about it a lot, but it was my first inkling into getting into advocacy. We were on the USS Kearsarge in 2007, 22nd MEU, and we had been to like 14 countries in 7 months. And I remember I went up to the deck of the ship and to go for like a run, like around the deck. And
Yeah.
I looked, and I saw my lieutenant colonel, my battalion commander. He was just staring off into the ocean. And I went over to him and I was like, "Hey, sir, are you okay?" And he said he was. He was just contemplating this past deployment because he had his hands full. I think every port that we went to, somebody got in trouble for
Oh,
drinking,
wow.
for fighting. So he was under a lot of pressure. And it's funny, that same battalion commander was at my wedding, played the bagpipes at my wedding, and he lives in Greenville, South Carolina, and we are still good friends today. So
Oh, wow.
that really changed my view on stuff.
Right, right. I'm sure. Wow. Amazing. And it's great that you're still close with him and you're still in touch with him. That's really awesome. You are 100% retired, right?
Yep,
You're
100%
you're
total permanent unemployable.
okay. But you are doing a lot of great stuff and a lot of incredible organizations. So you're really active, obviously, in the VFW. So I would love to hear how you kind of navigated yourself to that space. And you're the District 5 commander now. So talk to me about that.
Well, I started out in 2017. I was just a regular member. I went in there because the drinks were cheap, and
Okay.
which is totally the wrong thing, because I found out that it's more camaraderie, it's more patriotism, it's more sitting down with these people that have all raised their right hand, they've all taken the oath, they're all combat vets, or most of them are, and it's just you feel like a closeness with them. And I decided then I become a life member. Then 2 years later, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for an officer position. So I went as an adjutant, and that's basically like a glorious secretary for the VFW. And so I was there for a year, and I was like, okay, well, this is fun. And then the next year, I moved, and I went up to Murfreesboro, where I live now, and I was trying to find a VFW, and I didn't think there was one, but I went online, I found one. I became a member, and then I wanted to be a quartermaster. Quartermaster is they keep the bills, they pay the bills, they do all the audit reports, all that stuff, the 990, the incorporated paperwork, all that stuff. And I became really, really good at it. And at the same time, I was also recruiting. Like, I think I recruited 26 people that year. Well, the next year, I recruited 119 people.
Oh, wow.
And then the year after that, I recruited 139 people.
Wow. That's amazing.
So I made it to, and then at the same time I was doing a Rebel Warriors. I did Nashville, and then I was a district, and I was a regional. And then somebody asked me to be our chaplain in Tennessee passed away. So one of my mentors said, "Hey, Andrew, you're pretty good at the whole chaplain stuff. Why don't you be a chaplain?" And so I had to campaign myself, and I went around to all the districts, which there are 11 in Tennessee, and I went up to all the districts, and I tried to, get people's votes. And I was elected state chaplain in 21, and I was a state chaplain for 3 years after that.
Wow. So how does that work being like a chaplain? Did you go to school for that
Mm-mm.
or
No,
or
I'm a good Episcopalian. I am a minister too, by the way. Um,
oh, okay. Wow.
but being a chaplain, it's not like what you see on Sunday. Being a chaplain is being there at the beginning or end of someone's life. I think my first year I went to 14 funerals, and I was there to comfort and console the families of their loved ones that passed away. And
Wow.
and
Okay.
as a state chaplain, we honor our fallen twice a year at the state convention in Tennessee, which was in Nashville 2 weeks ago. Wish I had to do one. I do another because I'm the Southern Conference chaplain too, so I had to do it for the Southern Conference. So yeah, a lot of hats. But yeah,
Wow.
it just the VFW has given me a lot, and I've been all state post commander. Now I'm a district commander. I got voted in um, April of last year to be district commander. So I have 10 posts, 10 commanders that I get to advise, and 1,500 members. And I'm actually running for junior vice state commander this coming June.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, good luck with that. That's amazing. So really, really, that's what great work in the VFW. And I think, do you think VFWs don't necessarily attract younger members?
We are
Is
trying.
that
We are trying to change
you're
that. We
trying?
are. We're trying.
Obviously, yeah.
Now, I tell this to a lot of people because when I started our VFW 12206, me and three other guys, Richard Blake, Doug Carnes, and Stephen Cochran, and myself. We stepped aside from this post because we wanted to have another post in Murfreesboro because we have about 30,000 veterans in Rutherford County. So we're like, hey,
Wow.
let's have another post so they can have, they can pick which post they want to go to and maybe help out the diversity a little bit. And so we started this post with 26 people. June was 341 of this year members.
Wow. Wow.
87% of them are Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Inherent Resolve. So most of them, 87% of them are my age, 47 and maybe a little bit below.
Wow. That's great. What great work. That's amazing.
But you need to go out. I mean, if you're a post member or post commander or post quartermaster, you need to get together and you need to go out into the community and show people that you are there. Go to barbecue cook-offs, go to, I don't know, whatever the horse shows are, the car shows. We started Coffee with a Veteran, which is every Sunday at 8:00 at our local coffee house in Murfreesboro. So
yeah, amazing. I love it. What great work. So you also are the co-host of the TSP Scuttlebutt podcast.
yes.
So I would love to hear how that got started and what does TSP stand for?
TSP actually means the scuttlebutt because somebody else had that name. So my host, Richard Flake, who was a Navy guy, a sailor, who was on the CVN Carl Vinson from 85 to 89 and chasing down the Russians in the Bering Strait, which that's his claim to fame, which is, I think that is like awesome. Like he had this idea of this podcast, and we pick out veterans, even if we know them or we see them online, and we email them, we call them up, whatever. And we're like, hey, do you want to share your story? So it's kind of like an AA, but for veterans, like where you came from, what you did in the Marine Corps, Navy, whatever, and what you're doing now. And we've had 155 episodes. We interviewed Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller. We interviewed the guy from Duck Dynasty, the first sergeant, Uncle Si. That was cool. We've interviewed Top Gun pilots, Vietnam F-15 pilots. One of the Top Gun pilots was Lieutenant Matthew Wiz Buckley, and he runs No Fallen Heroes. So we got him, and then I got him into my VFW. So like sometimes it works hand in hand, like the big cycle. It all works, and we all work together, and that's what veterans need to do. We all need to work together, which we try to incorporate all of these things into each other because we're all working for the same goal, all of us. Even you and Jerry and your amazing organization with JDog and this Tactical Treasures, which is awesome. You're very good. You're very good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love doing this. I've had over 100 guests. General David Petraeus came on my podcast, and yes, Jerry just reached out to him on LinkedIn, and he responded, and so he was on. And I also had the new Congressman, Senator Tim Shee.
Oh no,
he was on my. Yes, I knew him before when he was running.
Oh, that's cool. That is
and now I could say I knew him when. So it is. I love the platform that it just gives veterans, like yourself, obviously, to talk about your service and the great stuff that you're doing now, because all you guys come out.
Exactly. They get the voice. They get to have a voice. And now, Fleek, when he started, he was doing this because he always was talking to his grandfather who fought in World War II. And so he thought it was like the coolest thing to talk to his World War II grandfather, who was
Right.
who was at Pearl Harbor, helping out,
Wow.
helping clean up Pearl Harbor after it had been bombed December 7th, 1941. And so
Wow.
he took that idea and he was like, "Hey, we need a podcast. Andrew, do you want to help me out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm like the comic relief of the like I try to ask serious questions, but like I do a lot of this and a lot of this and this and I try and make it less so serious. I try and bring a little levity to some of the
Sure.
stuff that's talked about.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm sure you guys work pretty well together, right?
It's
Serious and
it
yeah.
it's we just like feed off each other, and then like at the end of every interview, we have 10 questions, and it's numbered 1 through 10. And so we say, "Hey, what's your favorite number?" And so they pick a number.
Oh, oh, I love that.
The last 5 guests have picked 7. And so we've
Oh,
gone
wow.
through the same question 7 episodes in a row. And this last one we did actually pick someone like pick number 2. So we're like, "Oh my God, yes, they picked number 2. Oh
Oh, thank goodness we get to ask a different question, right?
yeah."
That's great.
But
That's great.
it's great. We've talked to some really, really cool veterans from the pogiest of pogues to the most operator of operators. We don't care. We don't care what service. We don't care what branch. We don't care about anything. We just want to hear your story.
Right. That's
Hello,
great.
viewers and listeners. The Tactical Treasures podcast is honored to be a part of the Reese Across America radio family. We are proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Reese Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 Veterans Reese you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTSD. You can donate right now at reaseacrossamerica.org/JDog. Thank you so much for supporting the JDog Foundation through Reese Across America Radio. Now back to the
Love it.
podcast.
So now I need to talk about, so you are the Ton Tavern Militia
Command.
for Murphy's commander for Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay, so I know, I love it.
That's for that's for Ken
I've
Hopper.
had
Ken, that's for you, buddy.
I've had Brad and I've had Pat on, and I just love what they're doing because whenever we have Marines in, or even our Marines that work in JDog, if we're ever in the city, everybody's got to go to the plaque that stands there and
Yep,
take the
under
picture,
95.
right? So I know. So I think it's awesome that you guys are trying to, go on this quest to rebuild the Ton Tavern. And, when I did the research for the podcast, I can't believe how many organizations were involved. And yes, it's amazing. So how do you get to be a militia commander? What does that mean? That
Well,
sounds pretty
it's
exciting, actually.
it's actually not that bad. We have probably about 30 militia commanders.
Okay.
You go on the ton.org and you go down to be a militia commander. And basically it says um, pledge. You have to pledge money. You have to do a couple events for them. I've already done one and I've pledged. And then you have to share like the bejesus on social media. Get the word
Okay.
out. I pledged $12,000 to the ton.
Wow.
So I am
That's
going to
amazing.
be a plank owner. Like, so when it's when the grand opening happens, which is next November, I'm going to have my
Right.
name up there as a plank owner.
On a plank. I love it.
Yeah, I love the Marine Corps so much. I had to do it. I love this idea. I actually did an event October 13th for the Navy birthday. I fed 52 people using Mission Barbecue, and we raised $1,500. Not much money, $1,450, and it wasn't bad.
Okay.
I had my commanding officer from 2006 was the guest speaker. I had a Master Chief speaking. I had Ken Hopper, who's on the board at Tom Tavern. He was one of the speakers. And I've given a lot of time to them, and I did all this stuff, and then I finally asked Ken Hopper, who lives in Mount Juliet, which is like an hour away from me. I was like, Ken, what's the verdict? And he starts doing this. He's like, welcome to the ton.
I love it. Oh, that's great. So you have your own shirt, and I love it. I think it's awesome.
Actually,
So
I had to pay $250 for this. This is
right. I
yeah,
know they're selling those
yeah.
shirts. Yeah, but it's for a worthy
It's
cause,
for a
right? It
very
all
worthy
goes
cause.
into the till. So, um,
Hey, Tracy, did you know that you can buy a brick paver? That will be
okay.
all it's this walkway called, William Penn used to use it back in the day. And the pavers are going to go in after the building is built, and you can dedicate it to Jerry, to anyone in your family. I bought 2 bricks
Okay.
already, one for my dad, who was a lieutenant commander in the Navy, and then one for my Freemason lodge. So, and that's one of the things. That's one of the organizations that first met there back in like the 1720s, were the Pennsylvania Freemasons. Because before,
Yeah. Wow.
it was the site of the U.S. Navy and the United States Marine Corps. It was a Freemason lodge. It was St. John's number 1 in Pennsylvania,
Right.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And actually, John Adams
Yep,
was actually there
second floor.
and wrote the documents that started the U.S. Navy there. So
I think that's like the coolest thing ever. Like,
it is.
I mean, I love
It is very cool.
I didn't like the Navy before, but when I was on a ship for 7 months, I learned to like the Navy. Now I love my shipmates. I love them.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, we have a couple Navy men in JDog and they're called Seabees, right?
CBs, we build, we fight. Man, those guys, they build our MWRs, they build our chow halls. They are awesome. I love those guys.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've had a couple on. It's amazing. And it's amazing to hear how they talk about ship life. Some like it, some don't. So,
I just remember that
but
I was way too tall for the bed. My feet would hang over the sides because I'm like
oh
6'1". So
yeah, oh that's
my
uncomfortable.
feet were over the edge by like at least 2 inches.
Oh gosh, wow.
I had to
That's
curl
great.
up every time
So
I went to bed. I had to curl up in like a fetal just to sleep. But it was awesome. It was so much fun.
yeah, oh that's great. So you guys just had the groundbreaking, right?
God, that was
Um,
so awesome.
was it? Oh wow, okay.
That's my second time to the City of Brotherly Love, which, by the way, I mean, Saturday night was the inaugural Ton Gala, which was at
Right.
the historic Masonic Temple, which was it blew my socks off. We had a red carpet. We walked in. I was like, "Holy S!" Okay, I'll do that one.
Okay.
And this thing takes up an entire block in the city. It's got a room dedicated to Scottish Rite, York Rite, Shriners. 50 different lodges meet in that one building at one time.
Wow.
And we ate in this dining room with this huge statue of Ben Franklin, one of my fraternity brothers. God bless Ben. It's this huge, big brown statue, like copper, whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. And I got a tour. Some of the brothers who were on the board of the Ton, they found out I was a brother, and so they gave me a tour. We went upstairs. We saw all the rooms. The room where they meet in is this Egyptian room. It's decked out in everything like from Egypt. It's amazing.
Oh wow.
Um,
That's amazing. I've never been
and you
there.
need to go get a tour. It is the coolest thing. Like, I've been to a lot of lodges, like main temples.
Right.
The main temples are the big ones in the state. So Nashville's, no offense, Nashville, you got nothing. You got nothing compared to Philadelphia. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys.
Oh gosh.
But it was just, we had dinner. I gave there was no chaplain. So we had So I had to give the prayer for all these well-to-do people. And guess who else was there at the dinner?
I don't know. Who else?
Major General James Livingston, Medal of Honor, 2 Purple Hearts. I got his coin. It's in my wallet right now, actually.
Wow.
He was born in 40, so how old is that? I don't know. He's 84, and he is spry as
Right.
ever. And here's his coin.
Oh,
So I
wow.
never
That's
have
really
to pay
cool.
for a drink ever again.
Awesome. That's great.
And then there was also another big tootin' Marine there, Lieutenant General Worth of the 2nd Meth. He's in charge of all the MEUs, 22nd, 24th, 26th. Big guy. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they had,
Very
yeah, they had
some heavy hitters there, obviously.
they
Wow.
had some, and they only fed. They had it was 500 a plate. They had about 150 people there, plus a silent auction. And it was well attended, and I met a lot of really cool people. And then the next day, I got up at 6, worked out, walked the streets, saw Betsy Ross's house. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And then I walked down from the Wyndham where I was staying, Wyndham Old Historic. It was like 3 blocks, and I walked down to 2nd Ave where the ton is going to be. We had the groundbreaking at 10 o'clock. It was really cool. There were 5,000 Marines there. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I
The
love
Commandant's
it.
own drum and bugle were there. The wild, crazy, it looked like Mardi Gras. These Mardi Gras people were there playing like the dead, the Day of the Dead people. I don't know. It was crazy. And the Bombshell girls were there. It was amazing. The Marine
Oh,
comedian
wow.
was there. I got to sign him up for the VFW. He was cool to meet. Bryson Banks, he was there. Good job, Bryson. Nice meeting you, buddy.
Wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like it was a great turnout, and wow, 5,000 people. That's amazing. And we had our Veterans Day parade in
Yeah,
Philadelphia at the same
yeah.
time. I mean, and
I
it
heard
was
about that, and then they were like, "Well, I think it's gonna be okay." Yeah, and it was. I mean,
yeah.
King of Prussia, right? Is that where you guys had your parade, like down that way?
No, it was in
Okay,
Philadelphia, but I think I don't know whether it started or it ended at the art museum. I'm not
okay.
sure which, but it was a different parade route. But yeah, Jerry and I, unfortunately, we were doing a fundraiser for our foundation out in King of
Oh yeah,
Prussia,
yeah.
so we
I see
couldn't go
that
to
on.
the
I want to
groundbreaking.
go
But
there. You guys talk about it. I see it on Facebook. I'm like, damn, I gotta try out this King of Prussia place, man. They must love it. They never leave it. They're always there.
they do a great job for us for the month of November. They
Yeah.
support us. They support our foundation, and so yeah, they're really very gracious to us. They love us.
No, I want
So
to. I want to send you
um,
guys some money too to support your foundation. So
I appreciate it. Actually, our money, a lot of it, well, most of the proceeds comes through our foundation and goes to IW. So that's yeah.
Nate,
So
hey, you
yeah,
better be
we do this for them
Nate
every year.
McDonald. You better be thanking her like right now.
Oh, I
I
love
do too.
Nate and Anna. They're amazing. They're great people. Um, okay, so this has been amazing. I'm excited to watch the evolution and the progression of the ton. I can't wait
Me
for it
too.
to open. I actually know a Marine that's trying to get one of the
Yeah.
cisterns, with his name
I,
on it and everything.
I,
So
I bought one.
yeah.
But
Did you? I
I bought
love
the
it.
16 ounce, which will be hung in the rafters. So whenever I come visit, it'll be there. But the big 30-ounce one, that will be in its own case. And I think I'm going to get one of those next year, like in the spring when I have some more money saved up.
Yeah.
Ken, get ready.
Yeah,
Get
right.
ready, Ken.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So we come to the time where I have to ask you the burning
Yeah.
question. What is your tactical treasure, Andrew?
What is my tactical treasure?
Yes. What has helped you in your journey in the military, in your life?
I think my determination. I think that's my tactical treasure because I am pretty damn determined. When I joined the Marine Corps, people said, "No, you're not going to do it. You'll never make it through boot camp. You'll never make it to SOI. You'll die in Iraq," which I almost did a couple times, but I didn't.
Oh,
And I was
gosh.
determined to come back to my first wife, and then that ended very shortly. And then I got married a second time, and I was determined to have like determination was all in my scope. Getting through college, getting through boot camp, getting through the Marine Corps, and getting through. Like I'm 6 years sober today, and 6 years and 3 months. I just had to earn it to earn the fact that I was an alcoholic, to accept the fact that I was an alcoholic, and that I had a dual diagnosis of bipolar, um, PTSD, actually 3 diagnoses: bipolar, PTSD, and alcoholism. I had all those diagnoses, and I was determined to try to get a hold of it. Now, PTSD is always going to stay with me, and it is.
Sure.
I can have my angry spurts once in a while. They're fewer and far between than it was 6 or 7 years ago. But through a lot of my modalities, EMDR, CBT, the VA, Veterans Treatment Court, Save a Warrior, which I don't know if you've ever heard of Save a Warrior, but
I have.
it saved my
Yeah.
life. I'm class 0141 out of Hillsboro, Ohio. That's 72 hours completely changed my life. Jay Clark and his boys over there with the $5 million new building for PTS saved my life. It was amazing, and it got me more
Wow.
determined
That's great.
to be a good husband, be a good father to my 2 dogs, which are amazing. Determined to help veterans every day, or at least try to help every day, or at least connect. If I don't know that person, I know someone who knows that person. Um,
Right.
I'm pretty good at connecting people to, excuse me, where they have to go. So,
Yeah. That's great. I love it. I love that determination. Yeah. That's a great tactical treasure,
thank you.
Andrew. I love it. So I guess that's a great segue into my next question as we begin to
Okay.
wrap up here. So, any advice for your fellow veterans who may be struggling with finding their way post service? Would you have a couple
Yeah.
nuggets for them?
I, well, okay. Now, I'm not going to start with but definitely reach out. Don't be ashamed to reach out. Because when I first got out, I didn't talk to anyone. I could do it on my own. I didn't get any help getting my VA disability. I did that all by myself. And you know what? If I had asked for help in this whole process, I wouldn't have struggled so much. But definitely ask for help. Reach out to your fellow veteran. Join join a VFW, join an American Legion, join an AMVETS, DAV, MOPH. Any of these organizations will definitely help you through the process. Talk to a VSO. Don't be ashamed to go to the VA. Find out, if you are feeling bad, if you are not feeling right, go to the VA. If you raise your hand, you have the God-given right to go over there and get looked at. If you have a 0% rating in Tennessee, you still get free healthcare. I mean, if you don't get disability,
Right.
it's not the worst thing, but it's not the best thing. But like 0% to 100%, any of those, anywhere in between, will definitely be a good thing. But you can't get it if you don't go in and ask for help. You can't.
Yeah.
And
True.
Ask your seniors, the ones that have been out for say 18 to 20 years. Ask me. I'll give you my phone number. You guys can call me anytime you want. I have a cacophony of people that I can get a hold of. I mean, from Florida to Alaska to New Hampshire to Texas. I mean, I've got VFW brothers, I've got Marine brothers, I've got Air Force brothers, I've got friends all over. I mean, look at my Facebook. I got 5,000 friends. Half of those guys I really know.
Wow.
The other half, not so much. But those guys, yeah. I mean, those guys they'll message me back in a heartbeat, and they usually ask me for help, like those guys. But and I'm getting off track a little bit, but definitely ask for help because if you don't ask, you're not gonna find the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Great advice. Yeah, I love that. Don't be afraid to ask for help. But don't be too prideful.
And that
to
got
ask
me
for
in
help.
that
'Cause I
got me in a
think
lot of trouble. Like the first 3 months, I was
yeah.
just 2008. I got out of the Marine Corps for 3 years. I would bring like a 12-pack home to my mom's house in Savannah, and I would finish it, and then I would go back and get some more. And my parents, they were like, "Wow, he's got an issue." They never approached me. They just playfully asked me, like, "Aren't you drinking a little bit too much?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm okay, Mom. No problem." And that was a slippery slope because I have it in my genetics too. So
Yeah.
I was just force feeding the fire to come, which one DUI 2009, second DUI 2018. So it was pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations that you got the help you need. You reached out and you went through whatever you needed to go through to get clean. And congratulations
Thank you.
on sobriety. So, okay, before you go, where can people find and connect with you? Where can they find out more information on your podcast? And how can they get involved with the
Okay.
Ton Tavern?
For me, I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Instagram is VFW Commander District 5. Facebook is Andrew Farr. LinkedIn is also Richard Andrew Stephen Farr. For VFW, VFW.org, really easy. You can find a post. You can find whatever. Ton Tavern, theton.org. Podcast.
Your podcast, so you're on YouTube,
we're on-
right? And all the
Yep,
podcast
we're on
platforms,
YouTube,
right?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, LinkedIn, Facebook. They're all tied together. But go on Spotify, TSP, the Scuttlebutt Podcast, and it is alive and well. But we go
Okay,
live
awesome.
every Sunday at
Okay.
1900. So
Okay, that's awesome. Good to know. All right. This has been amazing, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming
thank
on.
you, Tracy.
Thank you for your words of wisdom and sharing your story. It was
Thank you,
awesome.
ma'am. It was a pleasure and an honor.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us for this Tactical Treasures podcast. We've just finished up an amazing conversation with Richard Andrew Stephen Ferrara, who is a Marine Corps veteran and also is the Ton Tavern Militia Commander for Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He is also currently the VFW Tennessee District 5 Commander. So I would like to talk to you about the great stuff that is going on with the Ton Tavern Legacy Foundation. It is a 501c3 founded by Pat Daly. It was formed by members of organizations with origins at Ton Tavern that are still in existence. It has acquired land to rebuild and reestablish an authentic reproduction of the original Ton Tavern building in Philadelphia. The Ton, constructed in 1693, is the birthplace of Freemasonry in Pennsylvania, 1731, and the first documented lodge in North America, and the founding place of the St. Andrew Society, 1747, and the United States Marine Corps, 1775. It is also the early first meeting place of the Friendly Sons and Daughters of St. Patrick, established in 1771, the Society of St. George, founded in 1772, with earlier meetings at Tun Tavern, and is purportedly the place where John Adams and the Naval Committee met and drafted documents that outlined the structure for what became the United States Navy in 1775. A groundbreaking ceremony took place on November 10th of this year in advance of the Navy and Marine Corps 250th homecoming celebration, which will be happening in 2025. The Ton will be located at 19 South 2nd Street in Philadelphia's Old City neighborhood, known as America's most historic square mile. The location is within 250 yards of the original Tun Tavern site at Water Street and Tun Alley on Philadelphia's waterfront, where the Tun stood until 1781. To learn more about how you can get involved, follow the rebuilding efforts, and see the many ways that you can donate to help the cause, go to the Tun, and Tun is spelled TUN.org. Also, to hear the diverse experiences of veterans through in-depth interview, conversations, and firsthand accounts, from combat tales to life after service, be sure to check out the TSP Scuttlebutt podcast, where Andrew Ferrara is a co-host, which can be found on their YouTube channel and all the podcast streaming platforms. Again, thanks for joining us and tuning in. Don't forget you can find Tactical Treasures Podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, as well as Vet TV, American Grit, and our dedicated YouTube channel. We are now airing on Reese Across America Radio on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed that, be sure to join us for the encore on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeart Radio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.